Alright, what is up folks? So over the course of this video, I'm going to share with you guys why multiculturalism is a bunch of complete BS. And also I want to share with you guys the delusions of some of these passport bros. Some of these Western men, they think they can travel to Asia, find a beautiful feminine Asian wife and be married happily ever after. Well, here's the reality, right? If you look at the statistics, the vast majority of interracial marriages, the vast majority of them do end up in divorce. Here's the thing, right? A lot of people, I think, they don't understand. Let's say if you want to move to another part of the world, if you're an average American male looking for love overseas, let's say if you decide to relocate to Japan, to China, to Singapore, to Thailand, to the Philippines, right? And do you think that the life is going to be exactly like America? Well, I think a lot of Westerners, they're not prepared for the culture shock. You know, when you move to a different part of the world, it's extremely important to discuss this topic. So I will give you guys some examples. Some of you guys probably have never ever heard of before. So one obvious point, you probably have heard of this, right? And a lot of people, they don't realize this. Let's say if you're a Western man, you're dating a Chinese girl, right? And she decides that you're a good guy, you've been dating for a couple months, and she introduces you to her parents. And usually at any point, if a Chinese girl introduces her boyfriend to her parents, that means that the relationship has gotten very serious. So the first thing you should do as the boyfriend, right, when you're entering your Chinese girlfriend's house to meet her parents, is that you have to take off your shoes before you enter the house, right? The first impression is absolutely crucial, and if you forget to take off your shoes, let me tell you guys something that is going to create so many problems down the road. You know, this is one major point I want to emphasize on, because, you know, a lot of people don't realize that, like, a lot of especially older Chinese people, they're really weird about this kind of stuff. So right now, as I'm recording this video, it's around the Lunar New Year season. We're just coming up to the year of the snake. So, and a lot of people don't realize this, right? Sometimes it's not your fault, but you know, if you decide to date a Chinese girl, if you know she really likes you, she wants to bring you to China to meet her family, right? And you're spending some time here. Let's say if it's the Lunar New Year season, you have to remember something that's extremely important. So Chinese people, on a Lunar New Year day, it doesn't matter which zodiac it is. It doesn't matter if it's the year of the pig, year of the dragon, year of the monkey, or for this year it will be year of the snake. So on the first day of Lunar New Year's, right, you would never ever take out the trash. A lot of Chinese people are really weird about this. For me personally, I don't really care so much, but certainly the older generation, you know, it's some kind of weird taboo, because the older Chinese people will tell you that so if you take out the trash on Lunar New Year's, the first day of the brand new year, right? But if you decide to take out the trash that day, it means that your entire year is going to be completely trashed. That's a whole year wasted. So if you don't know this, if you're average, you know, white dude that's living in America, you find yourself a Chinese girlfriend, she brings you back to China to introduce you to her family, and you know, you guys have a great Lunar New Year celebration. The next morning on Lunar New Year day, you think that, oh, there's a bunch of trash everywhere, I'm going to clean everything up, I'm going to take out the trash. Her parents and her grandparents will absolutely lose their mind. See, this is part of the reason why the divorce rates among interracial couples are so high. See, a lot of people don't realize there's a massive cultural difference when you relocate to different parts of the world. So let me share a couple more points with you guys, right? I think the next few points will absolutely shock you guys as well. Let's say that you move back to China, right, with your Chinese girlfriend in order to celebrate Lunar New Year's, and obviously there's going to be a lot of alcohol, a lot of drinking and partying involved, right? So when the older Chinese people, right, when your girlfriends, whether it's her parents, her grandparents, or her uncles and aunts, when they reach out to you, they say cheers, right, let's have a drink together. You have to make sure that your glasses actually touch each other. You have to hear that bing sound, right, with the glasses touching each other. It's extremely important. Why do Chinese people do this? Why are they so crazy about the glasses touching each other? See, while you're dining in the West, in America, in Canada, in Europe, right, maybe perhaps some people in the Western countries, they don't care. It's more of a gesture. You just raise your glass and then you drink, right? For Chinese people, the glasses had to touch. This is because this is a tradition going back thousands of years. Because what happens typically, right, well, let's say if you fill your glass completely full of wine or beer or whatever there is you're drinking, it could be cola, it could be juice, right? Typically what happens when the glasses, they touch each other, whatever you're drinking, let's say if it's Chinese beer, right, your beer will spill into the other glass and the other person's beer will spill into your glass. So, and as both of you are drinking drinking, right, as both of you are saying cheers, this shows that whatever beverage that's in the glass that's being consumed by everybody is not being poisoned. I know that sounds absolutely insane. I know, why am I mentioning poison? But this is an ancient Chinese tradition, because way back in the day, a lot of people actually do this in order to poison other people, whether it's out of jealousy, it could be assassination attempt, it could be political rivalry, a lot of various different reasons. And typically what they used to do back in the day, up until I would say 1911, up until the end of the Qing dynasty, the final dynasty of China, so they used to put arsenic in people's drinks. And usually when people invite other people over for this kind of dinner, for this kind of feast, with the end goal of killing the other person, this is called a Hong Men Yan. So I'm using the Chinese term Hong Men Yan to show that I'm actually not making this up. And typically what happens most of the time, because it's a lot harder to mix poison into the food, it's a lot easier to mix it into the drinks, so typically they mix arsenic into the drink. Yes, you heard that correctly, arsenic. So in the ancient times, in the Qing dynasty era of China, arsenic is actually called he ding hong. They will mix this into the drinks. That's why it's so important that when you invite people over for dinner, when you're raising glass, when you say cheers, the glasses have to actually touch each other, so that the fluids from both glasses are being exchanged. So when both sides actually take a sip from the glass, it shows that whatever beverage is inside, whatever liquid is inside, it's not being poisoned with arsenic. I know it sounds absolutely crazy, but a lot of older Chinese people are really crazy about that. Every time you say cheers, your glasses have to touch. See, you as a normal white guy, you have absolutely no idea. But just like the previous things I mentioned, right, things like not taking off your shoes, things like taking out the trash on the first day of the new year, things like not touching your glass with your elders, these are all going to have severe consequences down the road for your relationship and for your marriage. So what else also happens during the holiday celebrations, Lunar New Year's, right? All the Chinese people, they give out these red packets, these red envelopes. If you aren't wondering what's inside of the red packets, it's pretty obvious, right? It's money inside of them. It's very important, right? Let's say if you come back to China during Lunar New Year's, right, and obviously you're expected to hand out these red packets to your other Chinese relatives, and obviously at the same time your Chinese relatives are expected to give you red packets in exchange. See, let's say if you were in America, if somebody gives you a gift, right, it would be extremely rude to not open the gift. I'm talking about typically what happens, right, if it's Christmas time or New Year's or whatever, right, somebody gives you a gift, right, typically you open up the box right away. So this shows that you're extremely grateful for the gift. This shows your appreciation to the person that's giving you the gift. See, in China it's completely opposite. Let's say it's your birthday, somebody sends you a massive box, right, you never ever actually open the box. You always wait until your guest leaves, right? Where you wait till you're completely on your own, then you open up your gift box. It's the same thing during China's Lunar New Year celebrations. When someone gives you a red packet, you never ever open it. Why should you never open up these red packets? Because it shows that you're extremely ungrateful to Chinese people. It shows that you're actually extremely cheap. So this is a massive issue. So a lot of Chinese people, so they have really massive egos. This is a huge problem in Chinese culture. So for example, right, let's say if you come back to China to meet your family for Lunar New Year's, you have a red packet for everybody. Let's say inside of each one of these packets, you put inside of it, let's say 100 yuan, and say if you have 20 relatives, so that's 2,000 yuan for you to hand out to your family and relatives. But let's say, one of your uncles, he has a lot of money, right? So he also, fills in 20 of these Chinese red envelopes, and instead of 100 yuan, because he has more money than you, he puts 200 yuan in each one of these envelopes. So he's handing out 4,000 yuan. So what happens is that, let's say when you give your uncle your red packet with 100 yuan inside, right, and he gives you his packet with 200 yuan inside, and let's say both of you, if you open up these packets right away, your uncle is going to see that, oh my god, I'm giving you 200 yuan, but you're only giving me 100 yuan in return. So he's going to feel a little bit pissed off perhaps, but here's the thing, you only give your uncle 100 yuan. That is going to cause major damages to your ego. I've talked a lot about Chinese people saving their face, right? It feels like your face has been shrunk in half, because now you feel like you're like your uncle's bitch. You feel like you owe him something, because you think that, oh my god, I'm only giving him 100 yuan, but he gave me a packet with 200 yuan instead. Now my face is like extremely small, has shrunk to like this big, and my uncle's face, my uncle's ego is like all the way up here. His face is like this big, and now I'm like so much lower than him. Now I'm like his bitch. Chinese people are really crazy about this stuff. So this is one of the many reasons why, you know, multiculturalism simply cannot work. So it is precisely because of these examples I've given to you guys. You know, I can list dozens of more, right? So every single country is different, every culture is different, every religion is different, and every part of the world is different, right? Multiculturalism is a complete BS lie. You know, this is part of the reason why so many people travel to other parts of the world to search for interracial relationship, to search for interracial marriage. This is why so many of them end up in failure, because a lot of people don't realize the religion, the society, the culture, and the people, the laws, everything is completely different. And oftentimes foreigners have an extremely difficult time adapting to a complete new set of rules, adapting to a complete new society. Even for me, right, when I'm coming back to China, I feel like a complete foreigner. And a lot of the cultures and the customs, even for me personally, I don't get it at all. It's just, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Things like, you know, you're not allowed to take out the trash on a New Year's Day. But as you guys can see, right, what happens when you try to have multiculturalism, when you try to bring people from China, from India, from Pakistan, from Iran, from Iraq, from Korea, from UK, from Italy, from Sudan, and all these people from different parts of the world, coming from different ethnic backgrounds, with different religions, with different beliefs, with different cultures. And when you try to mix all of these things together, inevitably what you'll end up with is a total mess and a total breakdown of society. And this is why, just like I mentioned a few videos back, right, this is why despite their falling birth rate, despite their population collapse, right, China, Japan, South Korea, they have made it 100% crystal clear that they don't want any immigrants and they don't want any refugees, because they understand that multiculturalism will never ever work in these Asian countries, and they understand that multiculturalism has completely failed the Western society. And also, if you guys want to know more about living in China, more about the things like I mentioned, right? Things like how you're supposed to take off your shoes every single time before you enter the house. Things about exchanging gifts, how you're never ever supposed to open them in front of your guests. And how about, you know, when every time when someone's receiving glass, your glasses actually have to touch. About things like that, things you might have never ever heard of before. I will give you guys more examples in upcoming videos. And thank you guys so much for watching and for staying till the end. I will see you guys next time.